Wow. Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighborhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle-earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her Phoenix Rising era.
Settle down onto your favorite city as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the town. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and
Deep, 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 deep.
diving into the yellow connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers and maybe tears.
Dearest listeners, we, the Ladies Bridgerton, are coming to you today with the social event of the season. If you were not sent an invitation, you must really be of no consequence because Colin invited strangers. The pews were full, the choir in full voice, and the church festooned in a blaze of finery no Regency church wedding had ever seen in this era. We won't leave a detail untangented as we discuss flowers, the dress, moods, vows, looks, love, and the birth of Colin, my wife, Bridgerton. Grab your tissues and snacks. Speaking of snacks, I know you're not eating too much right now because you're under the weather, but what are you snacking on today?
As discussed in the last episode, your Tangent Queens had so much to say about this wedding that it is a two-parter. Therefore, we will kick off where we left off in the last episode with Penelope about to walk down the aisle with Portia.
Portia looks at her, and at first she has this odd expression, almost like she can feel Penelope's heartbeat or like she's worried Penelope might faint. But then she softens and she asks if she's ready. Like, we actually see Portia read the room for once. She doesn't need Penelope telling her how she feels to understand her daughter. She instinctively understands, I think, for the first time ever in this moment. Because she looks at her, like she does this quick turn, like, you know, where one of us might, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, but she doesn't say anything. She just looks startled and looks over. And then she's like, are you ready? You know, she realizes this girl's terrified, like almost like she's shaking. She just is like, does this quick turn. So Pen, though, can't speak, obviously, because she's panicking. But she does nod her head. And the camera then pans out again. And so you can see Colin solely focused on that entrance. Nobody exists anymore.
You keep talking.
He hasn't seen his sunshine in way too long, and he knows she's about to come through that opening. The music swells at this point, and everybody knows that she is about to come down the aisle, and they all start to stand up to turn. And like I mentioned before, how Eloise got emotional, everybody turns to look down the aisle toward Penelope coming in, except Benedict. Benedict is focused on Eloise. Like, he is pleasantly surprised that she is having this kind of reaction to the festivities, you know, to this wedding. So I think that plays into his conversation with her at the wedding breakfast.
I personally still hold this feeling that although Eloise doesn't realize it yet, that she may have had deeper feelings for Penelope than just friendship.
I mean, it's possible because the look she gives her when she's coming down the aisle, I mean, she's emotional
It's
and
loss.
sad, but yeah, she believes she's losing something, but she's gaining something else too. Like, by the end of the ceremony, I say this later, but I'll say it now. By the end of the ceremony,
She's got a sister.
she is serene. She is calm. Like, at this point, when the song starts and she knows this wedding is going to happen, she's dysregulated. It hits her all of a sudden like a wave. You can see that moment. And Benedict is focused on her like almost like he can't believe she's experiencing this.
Oh.
When Penelope comes down the aisle, she's not yeah. Okay, so let's get back in here. I already talked about that. Okay, so we're basically at the point where Penelope walks out of the back. They open curtains for her. Like, how else do you tell somebody they're the star of the show? Like, the curtains are drawn back and Penelope must enter the chat.
It gave me very Daphne walking out for her debut in season 1 vibes.
Yeah. Even though the debut is you go through doors, like you open the door.
Still that very dramatic, like,
Yeah, but and I say this like it's in part of my notes about the aisle, which I know we talked about the aisle, but this is her actually walking down it. So there are 3 times we see Penelope walk down an aisle. That's at her own debut with her sisters, but alone, she debuted herself at the beginning of season 3. And this is very similar. There's no stairs, but there is a point in time where all eyes are on her. Her naysayers and her family members are to her left because Penn was on the left, remember, in the beginning. Penn was on the left with Cressida. And her Bridgerton family and Colin with the bros or the Lord Squad was on the right. And she came and walked straight down the center of the dance floor, much the same way she's gliding down this aisle. So I think that's the mirror moment here of us remembering like where we came from. The debut that started it all, the walk down the aisle that started it all brought us to this point. And like we know Colin's intent here was that I mean, he's basically an accessory at his own wedding. He wanted this to be about himself or about her. So we have 2 footmen open the curtains and she starts gliding through with her mother, which I'm going to say it here. A mother would never walk her child down the aisle in Regency times. Women did not exist. They were daughters and they were wives. They were property of a man and became property of a man. Portia didn't negotiate any of the marriage contract. It would have been Finch. It didn't have to be a male relative. It had to be whatever male was in charge of Penelope's future, which because Finch was first married in, it would be him.
Because you were handing her from one family to another.
And women held no place of importance like that. And weddings and marriages were business contracts at the time.
Women were just chattels.
I mean, I know we looked it up. Mary Sharma did walk Edwina down the aisle. So Netflix and Shondaland have set this precedent, but this would have never happened. Colin is singularly focused on Penn emerging from the curtains, and his first reaction to her, like it just looks like she takes his breath away. Like he is like his mouth goes slack a little bit, like it's like he loses his breath. And she starts coming down the aisle. She glances over to her side once to see those 2 women in green that we see. And then she looks dead down at Colin because she just sees all the eyes. She can't even handle it. And then she freezes at the first arch. She freezes there. And for me, that is a mirror of their trajectory of friends to lovers. They were stuck in friend mode for so long. So her stopping there was symbolic. It was a metaphor. And he sees where she's stopped and why she stopped. And then they hold an entire conversation with 2 looks. He looks at her with a small smile and he nods. She looks at him, nods her head, and she smiles. They both like, we're in it to win it. We got this. And then she starts walking toward him again. They get past friend mode. So this whole wedding ceremony is a tiny moment, a tiny analogy of their entire relationship. And I love this journey. Penn's journey was toward Colin the whole time. Everything she did, although she thought she could never get him, her entire journey and every choice she has made has led her to this moment. And every part of his journey, every choice he has made has led him here. Like this felt very, very meant to be, very serious. Like all the other weddings for me they were nice. You know, I mean, we didn't see Anthony and Kate's, but you know, they were nice. They didn't have like this was deeply emotional for me. Like there's a vibration in this room, right? There's an energy in this room. This is like we are seeing the moon instead of orbiting the earth, it's going to start orbiting the sun. Like there's a gravitational pull happening here. And I love like the symbolism that in her struggle, in her most terrifying moments, she doesn't look to her own family. She still doesn't feel supported by them. She looks to the Bridgertons. She looks to them for support.
The camera does pan to Philippa after that, the Prudence after that, and we see Prudence is even crying with what I can only describe as happiness for her sister, I hope.
Yes. But as she pans to the Bridgertons, I wrote down each of the Bridgertons' reactions, much like when she went down the aisle in season 1. So Eloise is full on crying, like you and I said. She's experiencing a loss. I think she's like, wait a minute. what are these feelings I'm feeling? I'm losing her forever. Oh my gosh, but she looks so beautiful. Like, why am I thinking Penelope looks beautiful? Like, whatever she's thinking, but she's emotional. Violet looks proud and satisfied. Like, I got my daughter. This is what I wanted, and I got it. Benedict looks proud also, but in a way like,
Love
I
is
didn't
love.
know
I'm
you
so
had it in
happy.
you.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's like he's looking at Penn like, I didn't know you had it in you, or like, you just won me 20 quid.
Mm-hmm.
There's some amusement to it. But Antony is not looking at Penelope. He's looking at Portia. And everybody's like, why is Johnny Bailey reacting like this? Why is he making these faces? And personally to me, because in the books, Anthony Bridgerton is very protective of Penelope Featherington.
Yeah.
And I think this is him like, this is Penelope's day. Don't you
take it
step
from
out of
her.
line.
Yeah.
Don't you, I know how you are. This is that,
This
in
is
that
their moment. Don't you
YouTube I
take it away.
yeah. In that YouTube I watched about Regency weddings, a vulgar mother-in-law is just as bad as having little income. It's just as bad.
Well, we see that in
And
the other Bennet
Anthony,
sister / Pride and Prejudice. Like,
yes,
they are.
Mrs. Bennet is
Beanley is literally in love with this girl, and he calls it off because of her family.
Yep.
Not necessarily, like, he knew about her income the entire time. It was not about the income.
Yes.
It was about the family.
Well, he loved her, and he was willing to overlook the family.
But his
But
family
the people
wasn't.
who loved him was able to convince him that it was all an act on her part because the family wanted his fortune because they were so crass.
Yes.
And Portia is attention seeking. She is vulgar. She is very crass. And she has always tried to claw her way up the ranks of the ton, not so much in title, but in reputation. That Antony, this whole time,
Big reputation.
up until Portia goes to her spot in the pew, his eyes are on Portia. Like, they had a talk before the ceremony started of, you better behave. This is your daughter's moment, right? I thought that was interesting because I followed his line of sight and he was not looking at Penelope at all, making that face.
He's
looking at Portia like, yeah, he was very much acting like the dad. I almost wish he'd have walked her down the aisle.
He's very much a patriarchy. He is the literal embodiment of a patriarchy where it's do what I say because I said it. I'm the reigning. He's not Simon's dad, where the patriarchy matters more than his family. His family matters most. Right. But if you do anything that's going to affect his family, that the father figure is going to come out.
I just love that he is supervising Portia like, I don't care if you're her mother. Do not ruin this for my sister Penelope.
Like, can you imagine?
That is the vibe.
Can you imagine how the scene would have gone down with, I can't even remember his bloody name now, in season 4, one of the very opening scenes with, it's his house that Sophie's at from the book. The
Lord Penwood?
No.
Why can't I think of it? Swear, you trying to remember it sucks it right out of my brain sometime. Lord, I was about to say Granville, but that's not it.
No.
Lord Cavendish.
Cavendish, thank you. I think that if Antony had happened upon Cavendish doing that, it would have been far worse than what than what Benedict had reacted. Because I feel like Antony, he sees like all those younger girls as his little Hyacinth.
Yeah.
Like, I legitimately think that he could kill someone. Like, he if that were Hyacinth.
Exactly.
If that were Hyacinth and he did that, it would not be a duel at midnight. It would be, you're getting a bullet through the head right now.
No, he'd want fists. He would and I think us talking about it now, what we've already seen of Benedict doing to Cavendish is what the brothers intend to do with Philip. Like, that's a precursor.
Yes.
That is foreshadowing.
Because
and the fact that we believe that Antony could come to blows with someone in an effort to kill them, like, purposely, says, like, I hope they play it out. Like, Antony needs to be wanting to kill this man. Benedict trying.
Well, it was very surprising to see
Gregory
Benedict
just being excited and Colin missing his wife. Like, that's what it needs to be. Serious and comedy.
Yeah, and I think that scene was put in there so that we could see that Benedict was capable of it.
Yeah. Because the only person up to this point that we wouldn't believe is Benedict could be capable of that.
I can just imagine Gregory like let me in, let me at him, like doing a little kick when he's down already.
Exactly.
Okay. Back to the way happy moments. Can we just talk about when Portia hands Penelope over to Colin, metaphorically and physically speaking, the fact that they look at each other and forget that there is anyone else in the room. They forget that they are at their own weddings and they are just in that moment with each other. And like the, what do we call him? Pastor, priest, he's got a name, archbishop?
Pastor, minister, I'm just
the minister,
like, whatever.
The minister. The fact that the minister is like, guys, can we continue here? You're holding us up. Like, stop looking at each other so adoringly.
And that's in my notes because I say, and you made me rethink Portia's whole thing here because Penelope hands Portia her bouquet. And then her and Colin only have eyes for each other. And Portia turns and she takes this like small moment where the attention's on her, right? Like she's blocking the couple. The attention's on her and she like puffs up a little bit. And I felt like this was so self-important of her. Like she's saying, look what I accomplished, right? Like I got them together kind of thing. But now you saying like, I mean, because I say the same thing later. They are in, it's like a spell.
They're in awe of each other.
Over them. And the pastor starting the ceremony is what breaks that spell. And they both look to him. But Portia standing there and taking that moment, I almost think she thought maybe they would kiss each other because she felt this energy. She was right there.
It was the same it was the same sort of energy. Not quite the same, but like very different scene, same vibe is when they walk up to each other at the engagement party and Portia's like, unbeknownst to the fact that they're basically unwrapping each other with each other's eyes. You know?
Yeah.
They are just
like when he walks up to her at the one ball when she's about to go dance with Debling and he wants to tell her, but all he can think about is kissing her.
Yes.
Like, I think Portia's figured it out. And I think she thought she was blocking them from being seen having an intimate moment before they're married. Because I think she felt like they weren't going to be able to control themselves.
It was intimate. Like seeing someone look into another's soul that way, they are just looking right through each other, like into each other's souls.
Yeah. But so I took this moment as like, Portia's taking a moment for herself and, you know, getting her attention, getting her flowers, but she also was giving them a moment if they couldn't control themselves and they had to, you know, kiss before the ceremony. They would have been blocked from most of the people in the audience or whatever. And then we see the family as Portia goes to sit down. We see the family again, the Bridgertons, all looking on, happy to see the couple together, except Anthony, who's watching Portia go sit down. Like, he is solely focused on Portia not ruining today.
I mean, we all have that guest that we invite to the wedding or the after party that we're like, okay, they're a loose unit. How and when are they going to wreck this wedding?
Yeah, like he was so sure she was going to try and steal the attention for herself that he was solely focused on her until she sat down, and then he could enjoy the ceremony from that point on.
My first wedding I went to, the groom's brother knocked out the groom's boss because he was drunk.
Yeah. So the minister starts the ceremony, which breaks the spell. And this is the second time where we see Colin make that same self-satisfied kind of having a small moment for himself, happy face, when the minister says, between this man and this woman. But Colin is called a man basically for the first time in his life.
I'm a real boy.
And he is so excited that somebody recognizes him as a grown-up. He just does this. And Luke Newton, I'm not teasing. Like, I just think you understood the assignment. Like, no notes, right? Like, this is just a little Colin moment. He dips his head a little bit and he smiles to himself and nods his head like, finally, somebody sees that I'm a man, right? Like, it's so perfect to me. Like, everybody saw me as a kid and now this guy says I'm a man, so they have to believe it. Like, it's just that little subtle moment that gives nuance to Colin in a season where he didn't get very much meat on the page. This is why we love you, Luke Newton.
I think that this is some of Colin's best acting. Like, obviously, I think it's way easier to act out hard scenes because it's big emotions and you get to play big where it's obvious. I think it is much harder to play the nuance, and that is the character that Colin more often than not plays is the nuanced feelings. And he is just the absolute, we've said it, he has a masterclass in the micro expression and how we have learned who Colin is through those micro expressions and how he feels and how he's exuding his energy.
Exactly.
His My Wife Bridgerton energy.
Now we're going to take one moment for this because I think this is very typical of every wedding scene that they pan to the other people who are betrothed or wed during this first, wedding speech as they look at each other
They look
and
at the
smile.
couples,
And I think that it does advance story because we see them pan to John and Francesca because even though their wedding hasn't happened yet, they feel married. Right?
Yes.
They felt like a married couple before they were even betrothed.
Anyone who looks at them in the scene would assume that they were married because they were not even at a wedding. I believe that they were not allowed to sit together in that manner.
Yeah. And then, this is the first time when we look, we see, they do the shot of everyone again, and we see Eloise finally calm. She still has tears, but she's not so emotional. She is witnessing this love and seeing that it's real, I think, for the first time. And it reminds me, it's a mirror moment to the drawing room in season 2, where Kate and Anthony just cannot be that close to each other.
Mhm.
And Edwina is like, was I really this blind?
Yes.
It gives me that vibe, like Eloise just settles into herself and there was nothing I could do to stop it. She was my friend and she loved him. Two things can be true at the same time.
I actually think that this is... Actually, no, it's not. I was going to say, I think this is a Claudia Jessie moment because I think that Claudia Jessie is the kind of friend who attends a wedding and sobs her little heart out. I think she is a big feels kind of a person. And I was going to say this is a Claudia Jessie moment, but this wasn't Eloise because it was very subtle tears. Whereas I actually think that Claudia would have been crying for happiness watching her fellow actors get their characters get their happy ending. I actually think that this is just Claudia Jessie playing Eloise, playing Eloise. I don't know. It's just, I think that everyone has come to love these characters so much that the scripting and the acting didn't even have to be done for the side characters for this. Ad-libbed it and gotten it perfect because they all know. And I think that was the difference between season 3 and 4. Season 4 had a lot more meat to it, but season 3 just hit different because we watched these characters fall in love over 3 seasons and we fell in love with their story. And that is why I don't feel like there's ever going to be another story that hits us the same way as this one.
No, and there's so much to it because we also are in this scene, are watching all of the, up to this point, yes, every season is about a different couple. But in Pollen world, because these two kids, nobody else exists outside the two of them when they're together. If you look at it as the story of them, even if you were a lead or not in your season, you were still orbiting them. Their story was playing through your season and you were orbiting them. And here we're watching all of these other characters who we love also having their own reactions. The Anthony and Benedict looking at each other and at the end where they're clapping, looking at each other like we knew this was going to happen, kind of look like two proud papas who knew this was Colin's destiny, or Prudence who never believed Colin would waste his ink on her, watching her sister get the man she had a crush on. We get to see all of these reactions too, and there's never going to be a season for me that plays like that.
Yes.
That's going to have that much. There might not have been a lot of meat on the page, but there was so much meat in the history of the previous seasons and what these actors put into this scene in particular. Every actor, regardless of if they had a line, even Hyacinth, even Gregory, who had no lines at all, were acting the entire time, which is, that's your basics as an actor. You should be in character when the cameras are rolling, whether you have a line or not. You don't phone it in. And this scene, everybody reacts in their own way, and it's beautiful.
If there were an award for best on-screen wedding, I feel like this would win for me hands down because it was an homage to the props department, the florist department, the costume department, the writers, the actors. This was just the cinematography of these scenes and the way that it pans between their faces as they start saying their vows. Every single department was on their A game for this scene.
Yes, and there should be an award for that. Award shows, Emmys, BAFTAs, whatever you got to do. There needs to be an award that shows and movies can submit a specific scene where you can see every creative department from acting to cinematography to lighting, all of them, how they contributed and collaborated together to tell the story. This would be that scene for
Because
Bridgerton
isn't
season
it
3.
funny that they put so much
Hands down.
they put so much focus on the balloon episode, but those aren't the scenes that we as viewers attach to. It is the scenes with raw emotion. It is the but Colin, I love you. It is the I've tried to be less, to feel less. It is the you are the bane of my existence. It is that you didn't go over the wall. Those are the moments that stick with us.
Yeah, Kate yelling at the races.
Yes.
Like being just as exuberant as Anthony. Like those are the moments, and they cost nothing. Your actors are doing, I mean, obviously all the horses in the scene, that costs money. The balloon, we got to see Colin's very tolerable forearms. That's an homage to the other Bennett sister.
I was about to say those were some forearms.
Those were some forearms. So do I like that? Yes. Could they have done it with something else? They sure could. It could have been a runaway cart, which would have made more sense at the fairgrounds. But I get it, telling the story of the oddballs. This was an oddball lord who liked his physics and stuff, but whatever. As we get into the meat of the vows and the wedding, I just want to point out one, Colin can't even say Penelope's name without smiling. He smiles when he says her name.
Which was another homage in the other Bennett sister. You specifically said to me, look at his mouth every time that he says her name.
Yes. He cannot say Miss Bennett without smiling.
Felt a lot of little moments between the other Bennett sister and Bridgerton, actually. Like, they are nowhere near the same. It actually follows Regency etiquette far more closely, and the costuming far more closely, but the vibes are there.
The vibes are there, yeah. Like, when Colin says, Colin Bridgerton, take thee, Penelope Featherington, like, he can't even say Penelope Featherington without smiling. And if you look at her face, she's gazing at his lips, not his eyes.
Yes.
Because of their height difference. She is watching his mouth form the words of him taking her
because
as
I think
his wife,
it's such a surreal moment for her.
Yes. It's her dream come true. I think she believes she's in a dream. She looks dazed and confused this whole time, from soup to nuts, start to finish. She looks dazed and confused. Not confused like what's going on, but like,
I can't believe it's happening.
Is this really happening? Yeah. And then when it's her turn, it's the exact same thing. She can't say his name without smiling. And he just is looking at her, proud that she's speaking in front of people. But she is telling the world loudly that she wants him, that she loves him. And I think that is beautiful. And then when he puts the ring on her finger and he says, with this ring I thee wed, he has that extra
I thee wed my wedding wife.
Yeah, my wedding wife. But he does this thing like, with this ring, I thee wed. Like, his eyes open a little bit more. Like, he's trying to laser some thoughts into her head. Like, I realize I'm marrying Penelope Featherington, but I need you to understand, I'm also marrying Lady Whistledown. I'm choosing the both of you because at this point in time, he still sees them as different people. Yes. He wants her to know everything's good here. Like, the look he's giving her when he says he's wedding her, like he's taking her with the ring, like this is the seal and the promise, is very serious. This is serious, Colin. She needs to know I'm serious, that I mean every word of this.
I mean, you had notes on the cinematography of the scene.
I mean, well, like it coming in close on her face and like,
but it was only coming
when it's
in,
the two of them,
it was
when they're giving their vows, you don't see anyone. The camera is just on them.
But it's
they're in
only
their own
panning
little
in
world.
on half of their face each, as if to say they are two halves of the same person, because it zooms in on this half of his right face, her half of her left face. Like, they're saying you are two people merging it, not into one, because I hate, please people, I don't know why. This is a pet peeve of mine. I hate joint Facebook accounts.
Penelope and Colin would never have joint Facebook accounts, and I'm going to get into that
Colin
here in a minute
Bridgerton.
based on the wording of the vows. But they are soulmates. They are two halves of a whole. And I don't mean that they will have a joint Facebook account. I mean that they are
Yes.
more complete in themselves when they are together. They are fully their
Yes.
true, authentic selves, and they are
They are the whole
whole
selves.
when they are with each other.
Yes.
And then, so he's saying he's going to marry Whistledown with his look. Penelope says, "With my body, I thee worship," which one is a very racy vow for a church wedding.
I was very surprised by that. I was like, I mean, to be fair, I'd also worship both Colin and Penelope's bodies, but like, okay, are we saying that out loud?
I mean, it's a very racy vow for a church wedding, but the traditional vow of the time was honor and obey.
Yes.
And do I think that Shondaland chose to not use that for that reason? No. I think this couple, no matter what year it is, would have erased that vow because Colin is very feminine forward. He wants his woman to be her fullest, brightest, most authentic self. And that is not his property nor an extension of him. She is her own person. So he would never have wanted her to say she had to obey him or honor him if he wasn't going to say the same thing. I think in Colin's world, they would have both said honor and obey to each other. But for Penelope, Penelope is Lady Whistledown. Penelope has learned her power, and Penelope is not going to obey a soul. She hasn't even obeyed the queen.
Mm-hmm.
So she would never say obey. And this is kind of a way, I feel like, for her to be cheeky and tell the entire world what she wants to do to this man. And
She's
like,
like-
wink, wink, nudge, nudge, already did. Baby's in there. My
She's like-
child had attended my wedding.
Like, I want to take the long way.
We're going to take the long way to the wedding breakfast, right?
Honestly, let's go the scenic route.
And I think, too, that Colin, because he's mischievous, he would never want her to say she had to obey because he would love the antics she would get into not obeying the rules.
Mhm.
These two do not obey the rules.
Yes, because both of them seem like, in other words, goody goods, but neither of them are
Yes.
because I think they're very much like us. They like they behave the rules that make sense.
I understood what you meant. Now let's tell the world what you meant.
They follow the rules that make sense, but make it make sense, right? Like, if the rule to me is more of a hindrance than a good thing, then, you know, it's a suggestion, not a rule.
And I think that is Colin's motto as a character.
Yes.
Okay, I take what you say under advisement, but it sounds like a suggestion, not a rule. Like that's Colin Bridgerton in a nutshell, really. And then I just want to point out here, because the episode is called Joining of Hands, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton was not the title of the wedding episode, which everybody was up in arms about because it's
Yes.
always the wedding episode that's the title of the book. Well, no offense. The Viscount Who Loved Me, they did not get married in that episode.
No.
They got together in the end, but they didn't get married. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton made sense for the episode that it was because that was their honeymoon period. That was the romance episode.
Mhm.
That was Penelope finally telling Colin she's loved him all this time. So joining of hands was exactly that, this vow, joining of hands. And I find it interesting. I don't know if this minister is ADHD or he just likes to change it up, but there in Colin and Penelope's vows, the whole wedding ceremony, there is no till death do us part. Right?
Yes. I think he was
There's
saving.
no.
I think that was just a writer's choice to make it impactful for John and Francesca.
I agree, but usually at the time, wedding vows were the same.
Yes.
And we all know
It was all stock standard.
weddings for millennia have said, till death do us part. Colin and Penelope do not say that. Why? Because pollen is forever.
I don't know.
They are
I think mine would have said till socks do us part, as in when he leaves his socks on the floor one too many times. And I'm like, that's it. We're pardon.
But I think that this was the writer's way of acknowledging, or Tom Verica, because this line could have been changed by the director during filming, right? They acknowledged that Colin and Penelope is the iconic couple of the entire Bridgerton series, I think. that they stand the test of time, and they are those people, like Penelope said, they're the couple that will die on the same day holding hands. I think they are that couple that find each other in every lifetime.
One of my uncle's best friend, his parents just passed away both this week within a day of each other.
Well, and
I always find it so sweet but sad.
it is and I've told this story before about how I decided I wanted to marry Smaug. Was when
Yes.
he took
Yeah.
me to meet his grandparents. When his grandmother went first, his grandfather didn't last 6 months. Didn't even last 6 months. And I mean, I could feel like it had that same kind of energy when I was in their house as when I watched this scene. And I mean, these are fictional characters, but that tells you how much love went into this scene. Like it's palpable. You can feel it. It's like an energy. And Smaug's grandparents
Always makes me think of Allie and Noah from The Notebook, which super
Yes, as
toxic,
we're,
but also I love them.
And speaking of rom-coms, although The Notebook's kind of sad, but we know that a lot of rom-coms played into this season.
Mhm.
This moment here, when Colin smiles as he goes in to kiss his "You May Kiss Your Bride,"
No, he
right?
did not say you may kiss your bride. He's like, this is a church, sir.
No.
That is unbecoming energy.
Yes. One, Colin should have never leaned in to kiss her. Kisses did not happen at the end of a wedding
Nope.
in a church
Nope,
back
nope,
then.
nope,
Did
nope.
not happen. So they broke the rules. But when he goes in to kiss her, he smiles like he's been waiting to do this for years.
Kiss the girl. I've
But-
got the Little Mermaid, Sebastian. Kiss
no,
the girl.
Every time I see this moment, it gives me Sweet Home Alabama,
Oh,
where the reason when he asked her to marry him when they're kids, it's so he can
Yes.
kiss her whenever he wants.
yes.
Like, this is Colin. This is Colin smiling because he's like, I now get to kiss you whenever I want, including this
But-
church.
Pen and Colin are Prince Eric and Ariel.
Yes.
And not that anyone asked for this
And
because this
Portia is Ursula.
not that anyone asked for this because obviously this is Taylor lore and not Bridgerton lore, but you guys all get to hear it because I'm me. I was reading The Little Mermaid to Ezra at Bunnings the other day, and I got up to the line that says, "But Daddy, I love him," which is
Mhm.
a Taylor Swift song, "But Daddy, I love him." And I was like, did she get the name of a song from The Little Mermaid? Because it's literally
Probably.
all about, but daddy, I love, like, marrying a man that your daddy doesn't want you to and he's not from the same world as you and, like,
Right.
your dad doesn't think it's good enough for, like, it's a whole thing.
Well, you know that couple on TikTok or Reels or whatever that react to different songs?
Mhm.
They're like, you can tell they love music. They're music aficionados. And I can't think of their name. I was just watching a bunch of their videos last night, but they're going through a country phase and they're just jamming to country. But they did Trisha Yearwood's She's in Love with the Boy, which is kind of very pollen coated in a way because, her daddy says, so thank Lord Featherington and what her daddy says he ain't worth a lick. When it comes to brains, Bridgerton bro, one brain cell, he gets the short end of the stick. But she don't care. She's in love with the boy, right?
Mhm.
She's in love with the boy. But that's kind of the sense. But daddy, I love him.
Yes, I love that he kissed Penelope with love, but not necessarily
Mhm.
passion because he knows it's not the time or place to do so. It was just
Oh,
a
he knew
very
he was breaking the rule. And
sweet and
Yeah.
endearing kiss. It was perfect. Because I think some people get a little carried away at weddings.
yes, I think he had to do it. He knew he had to do it. Colin Bridgerton's prime directive, using a Star Trek term, his prime directive is keeping Penelope's reputation intact. He made sure that their tryst did not get out in public. Even though
Yes.
he thought she was pregnant, he didn't tell anybody. He didn't act on it in a way that people would figure it out, aside from giving her lemonade while he drank wine. But his sole goal was to follow the wedding path to a T, so it couldn't be a quick wedding with them because that would look suspicious. As we know from the fake whistle down, because of Araminta saying, why so many quick marriages? That's exactly why Colin and Penn's wedding wasn't fast like in the books. I know they made that choice for that reason. Colin's prime directive is to make sure Penelope's reputation is intact, and even though he could not prevent himself from kissing her in this moment, and kind of breaking the rule of the church. He did it anyway, but he kept it chaste because people were watching, one. And two, the minister's right there. I mean, they could have been ostracized from that church for the rest of their lives from that point,
Now,
honestly. But he made it sweet.
do you think that if Francesca had not seen this picture perfect kiss between Penelope and Colin that was chaste but still exuded
How
love, you
mhm.
could see the love between them just emanating off of them. It was their light was radiating. Like if you could have a physical glow, they did. Do you
Mhm.
think that Francesca would have felt quite so disappointed in her kiss with John if she had not seen such a sign of what a
That's
kiss could be?
that is such a good question because personally, I think like even Kate and Anthony walked away from that service like, do we even love each other? Like, like Prudence figured out her husband actually loved her by seeing it in others. But I think there are some people that walked away like,
Is
do
that
we
that
even
what it's meant to be
love each
like?
other? Yeah, is this what it's supposed to be?
Like, I kind of
And so, yeah,
wonder.
I could see I think Francesca expected the same thing, especially considering Hannah Dodd played her autistic,
Yes.
and autistic people take what they see and they expect it to be like that. And I know
Expecto
because I grew up
Patronum perfect kiss.
I'm expecting things from the world that I saw in TV and movies as a kid,
Yeah.
right? Only to find out real life is not like that. Like they say, autistic kids roll their eyes by actually rolling them from because they watch cartoons as a kid.
So,
But an actual eye roll is not that.
because I wonder whether Violet's kind of poking and prodding of what love should look like and how, like if love was going to look like anything, she would point at Penelope and Colin, Simon and
hmm
Daphne. Maybe so Kate and Anthony, because this is a very volatile kind of love.
And bringing up Violet here too brings up a good point about Francesca because look at Daphne. Daphne wanted that romance like she saw in her mother and Edmund. And
Yes.
think about how old she was at the time. When Edmund died, she was like 11,
Yeah.
which would have put, because they're from Daphne down to Francesca, they are basically stair steps, right?
Yes.
Or sorry, from Colin down to Francesca. So we're assuming that Eloise is 10, which would put Francesca at 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Well, they're exactly a year apart on the same day from the books. So Francesca's like 9 and
Poor Violet was
she's
falling
singularly
pregnant with a 3-month-old potentially. Poor woman.
but at 9 years old, you're not looking at your parents and especially I mean, she's solely focused her hyper focus is piano, right?
Yes.
She's really focused on that. She's not looking at the romance of her parents. So
No,
she's
I
need
remember. I very, very distinctly remember sitting on the steps outside the PE shed with my friends at probably between 7 and 9 years old, talking about with my friends if you'd ever seen your parents kiss and things like that. Like, I remember having that conversation. I think it starts actually fairly young, but I think it also depends
yes,
on your experience
except
of what your parents are like at home.
and your socialization amongst your siblings and your friend group. I don't think Francesca had friends, and I don't think she isolated herself from her siblings by being so focused on piano.
Yeah, I see her as the
And
Mary.
she was going to Aunt Winnie, who was a widow. So I don't think she saw a lot of their romance. And I think she's looking, what is it supposed to look like? What is it supposed to feel like? I think she has no clue. Where
Mm,
Daphne wanted what she saw, Francesca never paid attention. So she didn't know what she was looking for. And then she sees this.
yes.
She sees
The
Colin and Penn.
stereotypical.
So when she gets married and John kisses her, she's expecting that same thing and didn't get it. And I don't think in that scene, we could talk about it more when we get there, that she thought anything was wrong or that she thought maybe they didn't love each other the same. I think she thought she did something wrong
Yeah.
because she didn't feel how Colin and Penn looked.
I think this is where like her mum's doubts start kind of creeping in. Not is he the wrong person, but like what is wrong with me? Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, this particular romance also plays into why Violet does have second thoughts about John because this is what Violet thinks romance is. This is her exact story. This is her exact feeling. This is her exact love,
Yeah.
how big their love was. This is what she expected the whole time. And Francesca doesn't seem to be feeling that. And her intuition is like Francesca's not getting it, but not thinking about where was she when Edmund and Di were being the example of what love was as a kid?
Mhm.
Not in her presence, hardly. She was at Aunt Winnie's learning piano for a lot of her childhood.
I think what Steven said to me actually when we got together does make sense. The way that you love people is completely reliant on the stage of life you were in. The way you're going to love your first love when you're 16 and you're experiencing puppy love for the first time, where it's not real life. You're not in the nitty-gritty of having to earn money and pay taxes and put a roof over your head and all of those things. It's your
Mhm.
learning how to love phase, versus when you've had your first heartbreak and you go into a
Yeah.
new relationship maybe a little bit more guarded the next time. And so I think for Violet, you can never ever, and that's the problem, you can never recreate what you've had with someone else because every single person's different. So you can never recreate what you've had. You might find it's not necessarily going to be better or worse. It's just going to be different because you are not the
Yeah.
person that you were when you were 16. And I think she's now trying to chase that love that she had when she was 16, forgetting she has now had 8 children. She has now lost the love of her life. And there, with that, a piece of her heart went with it too. And I don't think that
Mhm.
you can ever get that back. But I think you do learn to love and grow in your heart in different ways. But it is different once you're no
Yeah.
longer a kid.
Well, and I think she got caught up in the romance of it all, and it felt like when she was 16, so she was rolling with it, but then she realized, "Hey, wait, I'm not 16. I have to figure out who I am now to see if this is going to last." You
Yeah.
know? She didn't want to end up in a marriage of convenience in the end. She
Yeah.
wanted it to be like her and Edmund. If she was going to sacrifice her commitment to Edmund, because in the book, she never remarried. So if she was going to sacrifice and let Edmund go and have a second act, it had to be worth that for her.
Yes, it had
So
to be
she's got
better.
to find herself.
It had to be better than being alone. If you can't improve on
Yeah.
my quiet happiness, then I don't want it.
Yeah. So going back to the wedding, I'm going to say this again. Colin is not mad. Colin
Yes.
is not mad about Whistledown anymore. He has said several times using his eyes, his lips, his face, his vows, everything throughout this whole ceremony. He is no longer mad about Whistledown.
I think
What he is later is afraid for Penelope's life, her reputation, her ability to stay in society. He is fearful for her well being.
yes. And
Just want to make that clear.
I also think that he's the kind of man that is also emotionally aware enough to know that they get one wedding, one time for him to stand up and let the Ton see everything that she is to him and everything that she
Yep.
just is as a person. This was his highlighting of you guys have been sleeping on just how amazing this girl is. And no matter what he was feeling, he was never going to let those feelings taint this moment for her, knowing that they could never get it back. Because if he stood up there and he was, oh, I don't know, maybe, yeah, like if they
Yeah.
spend the next 50, 60, 70 years of their lives happy and in love together, he can never get this moment back. And he's emotionally aware enough to know that, like, I love her enough that I can put that aside for this moment and do this the right way.
I don't think he's putting anything aside. I think he just 100% truly loves her and he knows what they're going through is
It's a
temporary.
blip in time.
Yes, they have a lifetime. Soulmates, I feel like those couples that are truly soulmates understand that the most because they're about to engage in a lifetime of love. There's going to be more of these moments, more of these conflicts, more of these fights, but nothing is worth losing that person or
Yeah.
diminishing their love for each other. So obviously, when they break apart from kissing, all eyes are on each other, right? There's no one else in the room again. And we now see everybody stand up and we see how much their love has changed the room. I mean,
Yes.
Prudence, she's arms out. She's clapping with her arms straight out.
It's
Like she wants to
my love,
reach.
it's my little sister. It's really
Like
sweet.
she's trying to reach toward them. She wants to hug her sister. She's so happy for
She
her.
she is full blown in the pregnancy hormones ruling your emotions kind of phase.
Yes, but I also feel like you know how in every fairy tale and like in Once Upon a Time they say that true love's kiss
Yes.
is what heals everything or breaks a spell.
Yes.
I feel like when they kissed at the end of this ceremony, that wave went out and Prudence got hit first. Like, she was right there in the
The
front row.
oxytocin's hitting hard.
Like, she just is the happiest she's been in weeks. She's so happy for Penelope, like, completely animosity gone. Like, she's so happy for her little sister. The Bridgertons are
Well,
all clapping for
as they
them.
say, joy is infectious. And I think that when people can, like, I'm sure that you have been to plenty of weddings where some of them just feel lackluster. Like, you're there, you're going
Mhm.
through the motions, but it doesn't feel like a celebration of love. It just feels like two roommates locking
You're
in for the
reading words
next,
off a page, yeah.
yeah, two roommates locking in for the next 5 years together in a contract, sort of. Yeah, like it's just
That was my wedding.
yeah, I'm not trying to read you here. And then you come, like, Stephen and I's vows. We never read each other. We never talked about our vows together. Our vows had a line the same in them of, like, things that we wanted in our lives together.
Tosh, our vows would have a same line in them.
But you know what I mean? Like, it just, when you go to a wedding and you can tell just how right it is, and I'm not just sitting here trying to be, like, braggy or anything about my love with my husband. It's not perfect.
I don't regret my marriage at all. And my wedding, for the marriage I was going to have, it was actually perfect. It was, aside from the dress I had bought
Aside
for
from
the
the
wedding,
husband.
which was not white, it was blue. Well, no, like, at the time, that part of my life, I needed to marry him to get my son. I don't regret any of it. And the wedding was, I had it outside in the fall. So I had all of the fall foliage in the mountains of Tennessee. It was beautiful. We pulled the benches from the table inside the cabin outside. We made our own little church in the open air, and God decorated. The only thing I wished I could have changed about that day at all was that the dress would have fit me, because it was this really pretty blue dress. And that's what I wanted to wear. And instead, I was in pants, and they were the only pants that matched the sweater I had found, which were gray, and I was hot. Like, that's the only thing I really regret from it, even with everything that happened. Like, if that's the only wedding I get my whole life, I'm happy with it. I'm happy that it was the way it was, because it was very me. It wasn't a lot of people. There was no fuss. Yes, I did my hair and my makeup. Well, Samantha did it for me because she insisted. I could have gone out there without makeup. I don't care. But it was no muss, no fuss. It was never that girl that planned my wedding as a child. That was never me. So it was exactly what I would have wanted. There's just a few changes I would have made. Like, yes, I would have inserted a different groom if I could have. I would have been in a pretty dress
A different groom or a different
if I could
dragon?
have. Well, my groom would be a dragon, not a Sith Lord.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, the vibes are completely different when you attend a wedding that is just
Yes.
exuding the love between the couple. And it feels,
Yes, and it filled this room. It filled the room.
the love bounced off every couple in there, and you felt that love emanate through them, which is just what was so beautiful
Yes.
about it. For starters, this is going to be a two-parter because we're currently at 2 hours 50. So it is going to be a long two-parter,
And
actually.
mine says 3:03 because I couldn't pause on my
Yeah,
side. or
15
we would've
minutes.
lost the
I'm minute
recording.
minusing off. So
Yeah.
it is going to be a two-parter, but I am going to share these to the Facebook page because I would like people to share photos from their wedding if they feel comfortable to do so on our Facebook page. If you aren't on there, you can search us up on Facebook, the Ladies Bridgerton podcast. There is a group as well as a page, but you want to go into the group one. It is private, so
Well,
it's
and
safe to share it in.
I'm gonna piggyback on that real quick because I denied someone today a very common name, common first name, common last name. I'm not gonna name names, but you'll know who you are if you listen to our podcast, and potentially at your age, because I saw the profile picture. Potentially at your age, you did decide to join Facebook just to join our group. We tend not to approve people who join Facebook today.
Was this the same name as someone who you're going to New York with? I also declined. Okay, so they must have reapplied.
Retried.
Yeah.
So if this is you and you're a real person and you really want to be part of our group, please message one of us in Facebook Messenger and let us know. I joined Facebook to join your group. We need to know you're not a robot, basically.
Yeah, we tend to deny accounts that have been created with, like, within the last month sort of thing. But I want the wedding joy to spread. So I will also share my own wedding photos where I'm a princess. I'm gonna be a princess.
Oh yeah. Well, and and I'll make a note to self. I'll make a note to self on Saturday that I'll make a post that's going to be our thread to post wedding photos
Mhm.
because in honor of the wedding episode part 1
Well, this will probably
because it's going to be 2 parts.
drop in part 2, but we can do 2 wedding posts. I don't care. I love weddings. Anthony, I love weddings.
I love weddings too. But
I
I mean,
and then
people
Benedict, I love love.
it'll give people who are not in Facebook all the time a chance to find it before part 2 drops, and then we'll be able to maybe when we record our next one, so the episode after that, we'll be able to talk about, "Oh, your wedding was really pretty," or whatever,
Yes.
as part of our Bridgerton news.
If you aren't part of our Facebook group or don't feel comfortable sharing photos, drop your favorite vows. Drop your favorite engagement. Like, how did your partner propose? Like, we love love. We want to
Yeah.
know, how did you
Tell us
get?
the story. You don't have to post a picture. Tell us a story.
Tell us your love story. We want to hear. It's a love story, baby. Just say
So
yes.
and then the final ending to this, the perfect ending to this wedding, as they turn to face everyone, which normally in a wedding, the minister would say, I'm now present Mr. and Mrs. Colin Bridgerton.
Mm-hmm.
They're facing the crowd, and Penelope reaches for his hand, not looking. You can tell she's not looking at him. She's facing out. She reaches out. Their hands find each other automatically. They
I
have this
loved that.
gravitational pull to each other that, like, there's no searching. They just know. They know each other's space. They know they're in each other's orbit so
Yes.
much they don't even have to look. And she reaches out and grabs, and he knows that she's now realizing how many people are in the room again, right? Because for
Yes.
the whole ceremony, it was just the 2 of them. And he knows she's scared, and he gives her that squeeze of reassurance, like, I'm here with you. We're in this together. And then they turn around and they're on them from the front. And you can just see how nervous she is and how scared she is. Like, she's like, when will this be over? She looks like she wants to melt into the floor. But Colin is proud as a peacock. He's like, I got my girl. This is my wife, and this is where I say in my notes, Colin is showing off his wife. Colin, my wife Bridgerton, is born and found his purpose. He reflects her light so she shines brighter
Mm-hmm.
because that's his goal. He wants her to be seen. So he's going to reflect her light so that she shines brighter.
He
And that's what
amplifies.
he's doing. That's what he's doing here. He's presenting her the way he's standing and holding her hand. He's
What is?
presenting her to the ton as his wife. It's like he's saying, look at my wife, because he is Colin, my wife, Bridgerton. Can't miss it. She looks like she wishes she wasn't there. Not because she doesn't want to be there. That's exactly where she wants to be. She just wants everyone else to disappear. She wants the crowd to be gone. She wished it was just them.
I was trying to find like a cute material with the amplified light, but it's called a doped fiber amplifier. No, my little dope fiber amplifier, Colin. Today, dental listeners, we will leave your dope fiber amplifiers there and continue on next week's episode. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please find the Ladies Bridgerton on Facebook and YouTube. Enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen.
Yes. And if you would like to sponsor us, sponsor Pod Snacks,
Sponsor
that's
my
at
ass cubes.
Buy Me a Coffee. Yes, that's have our ices like in the other Bridgerton or the other Bennett sister. If you want to sponsor our Pod Snacks, you can go to Buy Me a Coffee and sponsor us there. You can also become a Patreon. We have a Patreon page which gets exclusive content sometimes. We send out a quarterly newsletter, and we've done
Access to our
exclusive
notes.
Patreon events. We watched the premiere together, and that was for our Patreons. So come find us, join us. We would love to have you. And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of 2 mad women,
Yours,
madly in love women with pollen.
yours truly, Tosh the madly in love Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.